Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Life with Lenoci. I'm your host, Michael Lenoci, and you are the listener. So if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, make sure you leave a review, 5-star review, and subscribe to the channel. We like to have you come back every week and listen to what I will say or what you want me to say. Either way, this is a Feel Me Good podcast. What?
Feel me good?
Yeah.
It's a feel good.
A feel good podcast.
There's no me.
It's a feel me good podcast. It makes me feel good. A feel good podcast. Isn't it a feel me good podcast?
No, it's a feel good podcast.
All right, guys, it's a feel good podcast. Well, welcome back to another episode. If you're watching, like and subscribe right there. Like that button, subscribe, comment, tell people what's up, or tell us what you're feeling. We do have an email that we will get into this week. If you want to email the podcast about any problems you have, just feel free to email at lenoci.michael@gmail.com. You can get to that email whether it is on my YouTube, clicking the website to my website. A couple upcoming shows I got coming up, headlining Reno Laugh Factory. That is the week of January 12th weekend, I believe. Not positive. And then I got a Chicago date coming in March. So be on the lookout for that. It will be at the Comedy Bar, I believe. We're just waiting to finalize that one. So make sure you look out for that. But let's get right into it, guys. Wonderful week for myself, but also not so much. Listen, here's a lesson that's going to be learned. There's highs and there's lows. By the way, you might want to proofread that email.
Oh, I started perusing it. And it's a doozy so far.
Yeah, just don't say the name because it seems like it's pretty heavy and private. So that being said, this week is a lesson to be learned is a bunch of highs and lows, right? You never want to get too high. You never want to get too low because things can really... It's football, man. Here's the deal, man. Football it's the best show on TV. It's like watching Breaking Bad. It's like watching The Sopranos. There's highs and lows. Every week you're like, this is amazing. And then certain weeks you're like, it's all over. It's over. There's nothing I can do. Like 2 weeks ago, I was sitting here going, I think the Dolphins could probably... Anything can happen. Anything can happen. There's not a team I'm scared of. Am I saying we're going to go to Super Bowl? No. But I'm saying the Bengals went last year because they were playing like that. Why can't we? That's all I'm saying. Here we are 2 weeks removed. I'm not sure Tua's the guy. Now I'm like, yes. I'm off the Tua train again.
Full circle. I can't wait to see the next video of you and Haley going, he's not the guy anymore.
Listen, there's 4 weeks left. Anything can happen. That's what's crazy about the NFL. It's a great reminder of not to get too high or too low on certain things because, like, we're not going to win on Saturday against the Bills. But could you imagine if we did, how that would just change the narrative all of a sudden? It changes everything. So that's the lesson to be learned. Yes?
Is it a home or away game?
It's a away game. We're not going to win.
Oh.
So that's the thing. We're going to lose 3 in a row. I'm going to be in panic mode. But guess what? In between those 2 losses, it was one of the great highlights of my career. All right? I got to do a private show for the Miami Dolphins. They were staying at the hotel at UCLA. I was able to put a show together with my buddy Chris, who works for the team. And, I've been talking about this all year, thinking, maybe they'll come to the Laugh Factory. I'd really like to make this happen. Didn't sound good. Then we go to dinner on Monday, and it came to fruition. And I was able to, I booked some comics that I thought would be good. First of all, I tried to get everyone. I tried to get a hold of Bill Burr. I tried to get a hold of, the biggest comics ever. And I couldn't get, I asked Dane Cook. I asked everyone. I was like, would you want to, thinking people would be like, oh, that's awesome. I thought people would be as excited as I am. But I guess they're not as big as football fans as I am. It's also not the greatest gig because you're like, oh, how could this go? This might not go well. But I was like, yeah, but this is also awesome. And it was a paying gig. Not much, but still, it's in town. You're getting paid $50. By the way, if you don't know this, a little behind the scenes of stand-up comedy. If you're Bill Burr or Dane Cook or Michael Lenoci, when you're at the Laugh Factory, you get the same goddamn check. Everybody gets the same check, all right? Nobody gets a different check. We all get fucking $60 for a weekday spot. and $90 for a weekend spot at the Laugh Factory. At the Comedy Store, you probably get like 30 or $40. At the Improv, you get like 50 or 100. Okay, it's all the same. Okay, unless it's your show. Now, if it's Bill Burr special event, that's different. But if it's a regular show with 6 different comics on it and everybody's doing 15 minutes, we're all getting paid the same. All right, except maybe the producer. But if it's a producer show, but if it's an improv show or a Laugh Factory show, you're all getting paid the same. So I'm sitting here going, oh, you're getting a good chunk to come do 15 minutes with the team. I'm thinking this can be pretty easy to book. It wasn't easy. Now,
can I ask what the lineup was?
Yeah, I'll get into it. But I don't know who was, why someone wasn't available or what not. You know, I know some people said no because they weren't interested, but a lot of people couldn't, right? It was a last minute book. People already had shows because I'm hitting up the day before. I'm booking the day before. So I needed to get someone that I was like, oh, someone that they will recognize that will be cool. But then I'm thinking these guys are 22, 23, 24, 25. So I was trying to get those big people. Obviously, I had me, and I was like, oh, I'll host it, right? Because I have the intel. I know the team. I know what they look like and who they are. I know all the inside information about them. I also thought, hey, I should probably get a couple black comedians. There's a lot of black athletes on the team. And that's not racist to say that, right?
No, you didn't. You need a diverse lineup.
You need a diverse lineup.
Don't ever go to a all white lineup show.
Oh, ever. But also this is football, so it's more of a now, did I have a woman on the show? Of course not, because it's a fucking football team. What are we doing, bro? Okay, so no, I didn't have a woman. I didn't think that was appropriate, or maybe it would have been funny, but I also wanted to bring people who would appreciate how fun this was. I don't know personally. There's maybe Sarah Tiana, she's a female comedian that's into football, but I don't know her well enough to be like, hey, would you want to do? I should have maybe done it, but I just thought of that now. But I'm like, who really likes football? That's the only one that I could think of. But I haven't probably talked to her in years. I see her in passing, so I don't know specifically a girl who's a big football fan like that. So I had myself. I ran into my buddy Brent Morin. I know he likes football, so he was ecstatic right away. Didn't even care if there was pay. He was like, yeah, that sounds awesome. He was in. I asked another buddy, Ruben Paul. He's a big Raiders fan. We've been becoming friends over the last year, and we talk about football every time we see each other. So I was like, well, he'll love it. He's black. And then I have my go-to black guy, Ian Edwards. Because I'm also thinking this is going to be a hard show. So I need strong-ass fucking comics, right?
Yeah.
So I know Ian's a strong-ass comic, all right? So I have Ian, Ruben, me, and Brent. And now I need somebody with some sort of movie credits, something, right? I'm down to the list of I get Harlan Williams, which is one of my favorite comics to watch, to be honest.
That's right. I saw the photo. I was like, oh, Harlan. Okay. Yeah.
I was able to get Harlan, and Harlan was exciting because I thought maybe they would be like, oh, it's from Half Baked, from Dumb and Dumber, which they probably don't even know half of the stuff. The older coaches in the back recognized Harlan, but either way, I needed someone. Harlan's one of my favorite guys to watch. He's a very funny comic. He's been doing comedy fucking 30 plus years. He's a professional comic. So that was the lineup, and it was fun, and I figured, hey, I'll host it to kind of keep the show afloat because I know I could riff. Sure enough, I go up and I am I'm kind of doing a little awkward crowd work up top, and then I go into my bits, and one of them, the first two do well, and then the third one doesn't hit at all, and I go, all right. In my head, I go, oh, okay. No. You ain't gonna do this to my moment. You guys are not gonna fucking ruin my moment. So I go, you fuckers don't get that? I just go, oh, was that too many words for you guys? You guys all have SCTE? You don't fucking, he's talking too much. We're fucking that dumb. You didn't know that joke? And I just went in. And then I start going to the players and just riffing on all of the shit. And just going after all of them and killing. Just because I knew stuff about them. Yeah. And then all the comics in the back are like, shit, we don't know all of it. He's killing. They're not going to be able to kill the way I was.
Did you film the set?
No, there was no filming there. We weren't allowed to. We were I was able to get pictures because I realized.
Were you able to record it on your phone?
I just didn't.
Really?
They were saying like no pictures, no video, but then I realized I could get some pictures, but and it was, but you know, it was like I was just happy to be doing it.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't let you post that probably because
Oh no, but like at least you'd have the audio for yourself.
Yeah, but it won't be the last time I do a show for them. Like I'm in.
Oh, McDaniels is like, hey.
He wasn't there. His assistant was in there, and he loved it.
Oh, because
half the team showed up. Not like Tua wasn't there, Tyreek wasn't there, and yeah, McDaniel wasn't there.
This is the only people know on that team.
No, but some other players were there. Like Christian Wilkins was there.
Who?
Christian Wilkins. He's our start. Oh, and then Jalen Waddle.
Okay, I know Jalen.
Gesicki, the punter Morstead. I mean, he's a Hall of Fame punter. So that was cool. And then, but I think all the comedians had fun overall. They had a good time, and it was just a cool experience because it's weird. Because halfway through my set too, I'm like, I said it. I go, oh, I just realized there's no women in this crowd. Why am I even doing this bit? Like, so. It's just interesting, and it's spread out. So it was definitely hard. Each comic had a little struggle. They all had their own struggle. So it was fun to watch. And then they all got off and go, all right, that wasn't that easy. It wasn't easy. And I think they obviously all wish they had my firepower. Because I watch all the press conferences, so I know these guys. Like, there's one guy like Duke Riley. He's a backup, like, middle linebacker for the Dolphins, but he gets a lot of snaps. But the everyday guy has no idea who he is. I know who he is. I know his personality because I've seen him talk before, and he just seems like he's a fucking pothead surfer. So I could just go like, oh, Duke, I know you, man. You smoked all the weed. Kills. You know what I mean? I'm like, you sound like you already have concussions. Wes Welker was there. You know who he is, right?
Wait, why?
He's our wide receivers coach.
Oh, he's the coach. I was like, he retired a long time ago.
He's our wide receiver coach. He's almost he's 41, so he's like our age. He kind of did a heckling thing, and I go, what? I go, what'd you say? And I go, you sound drunk. And then they all laughed. I go, you sound like an extra from Forrest Gump. And then they all laughed. I go, you're like Lieutenant Dan, just like, hey, what's up, guys? It's me, Forrest. Like, and I was doing that, and they were dying. And I go, maybe if you didn't drink so much, you would have caught that ball in the Super Bowl. And the whole room erupted. They were like, oh! And he stood up, and he was like, I'm out. I'm leaving. That's too far. So that was like the highlight.
You should have just made the fact that he went to Texas Tech.
I didn't have that information.
Oh, so you don't have the deep cuts.
That was the deepest cut. I mean, that could be like that. That's probably why this guy probably is. Who knows? That guy probably went to therapy for that. Yeah. If he catches that ball, they win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That's a deep cut. And I go, that's what happens when you guys try to fuck with. Like, I was like, I'm not letting someone ruin this. So that was a cool moment. And then obviously I got the tickets, and then they gave me field passes. I walk out, and we're on the field. And Dan Marino walks by, and I'm just like, "Hey, Dan!" I go, "I saw that photo. Comedian."
Wait, who's the other guy?
My buddy, college buddy.
Oh, okay.
And then I was like, "Can I grab a pic?" And Dan's just there, drunk. You know, sounds like he is. I don't want to put anyone on blast, but these guys are just fucking. What does Dan do? He just fucking walks around, and goes, "I'm a fucking legendary Dolphin. What a life."
He's like, "Check out all my rings."
That's not nice. He had a good life. He's had a good life. So I mean, that was all in all, that was a great time, but we got the L, man. How much better it could have been. Would I have traded the comedy show for a W?
Yeah, that's a good question. I was going to ask that.
No. I'll take the L.
You'll take the L?
The comedy show. Yeah, man, because it's not a playoff L. Like, if they said, you guys would win the Super Bowl, but you wouldn't have got to do the comedy show, I'd be like, okay, no comedy show.
Then it would be like every other year for you.
Yeah. No
Except for you win a Super Bowl.
Yeah. But it was cool. And I think that we could do it again. If I'm ever in town, they would be open to it. And then McDaniel the next day, they asked about the comedians. Did you see that?
I saw the press conference.
That was cool. I wish he was like, yeah, there was this guy, Lenoci, you know.
You wish you had been name dropped, but instead... Whatever. I'm funnier than him.
Whatever. So that was cool. But again, some big highs, and then I get shot in the face with a loss. But I was drunk at that game. I was drinking at that game. Why wouldn't I? And it was a fun game. It's a cool stadium. I was there twice this week, and but not a fun game to watch. It was really boring. So that's the low. And we're in panic mode right now in Miami. Where if you're a football fan, you're nervous. You're like, what's going on. And that's why the NFL is so exciting and why it's the most popular television show on TV. No one watches anything more. There's not a television. Keeping Up with the Kardashians? Nope. NFL gets more viewers. Okay? Every week. There's a reason. Because it's high stakes drama. And every week people are in and they're out. And they're in and they're out. And there's nothing better on TV. And it is the only sport listed as an entertainment company. What does that mean to you?
501c6.
What does that mean to you? Who knows? Take what you want with that gift. Take what you want with that gift. But hey, sometimes there's calls you go, what the hell was that for? To manipulate? Maybe.
It's like those Buffalo Wild Wings commercials.
What about those?
Where they're like, oh, I just don't want to leave. And then the like dude hits a button and it causes the fumble or the ref trips and misses the call.
Yeah. It's not like basketball, though. You can't force someone to kick a 55-yard field goal and make it. Basketball, you can call a foul. It's really easy to make a free throw. That's
yeah, but you oh man,
free throws you can manipulate. It now. Obviously, they've had their scandals.
Holding calls,
sure,
all day.
But that doesn't.
Oh, it affects
not a
it.
Score. It's not a score.
No, it affects it. Absolutely.
It affects it.
If it's 3rd and 1 and all of a sudden you do a fake holding call, now you're backed up 10 yards.
But then you still can't control if he throws a first down on the next play.
Yeah, but it makes it statistically much harder.
Yeah, hold on. Yes, but it's not manipulate. You can't force someone to score in football like you can in basketball. We're talking about that. You can't force.
Okay, what about like you have what constitutes a catch? Where like there was something.
What do you mean?
Well, like even
I mean, listen.
I hate going back to this one, but like Des Bryant.
Yeah.
Like that was a fucking catch.
Sure, but that's not a fixed situation.
That's them taking a score off the board.
Sure, but that wasn't a situation where you're like, oh, that's clearly manipulated. That's a call that was based. There's also Dallas could have scored on the next drive, or you know what I mean? Like you're like
that was a play to end the game.
It wasn't to end the game. They would have taken the lead.
Yeah, with like a minute left.
There hasn't been there's never calls where you're sitting there like it's at the end of the game situations like that. Like I'm just saying, yes, there could be holding calls. Listen, if there's fucking a holding call, sure. On average, there's 2-3 a game. If all of a sudden there's 10, something will be investigated. But at the end of the day, you can't make someone kick a field goal and make it.
So
you can't force a team to win.
Earlier this year, Texas, Oklahoma State, 14 holding calls on Texas, 0 penalties on Oklahoma State.
All right,
happened twice.
Let's look it up and see if you're telling the truth. Let's go look at the stats.
It even became
All right, who is it?
It was Oklahoma State versus Texas.
So, Texas.
Penalties. Look up that.
No, I'm just going to go to it right now. Oklahoma State versus Texas. Texas won 49-0.
No, you're looking at Oklahoma. I said Oklahoma State.
41-34, okay? Team stats. Penalties. 14 for Texas, 0 for Oklahoma State.
You don't find that weird?
Mm-hmm. It's definitely weird.
And then the last game we played was...
Here's a thing that comes out to me, and you can't force this. He threw 3 interceptions. You can't force someone to throw 3 interceptions. So how do you explain that? I'll bet you if he throws 1 less interception, Texas wins. So there you go. So
possibly.
That just my point is you can manipulate basketball by forcing people to score. You can't force someone to score. That's why you can't manipulate the game. And that's the whole point of making it. It's like, okay, yeah, you could say, oh, they called 14 holding penalties. Yeah.
Yeah, but think about how many touchdowns have been called because there was like an iffy holding call. Or even, what was it, 3-4 years ago, Rams versus Saints, and that wasn't defensive.
Yeah, that was a blown call. But
that was
the NFL comes out and they say, hey, they fucked up and missed the call there. But it's not.
That doesn't change the game.
What?
But it doesn't change the outcome of the game.
It doesn't change the outcome that they admitted it? No, but the argument is this fixed? Are you arguing for fixed or not?
I don't.
So then what do you argue?
I don't think the NFL's fixed.
Okay, so then what are we doing? Because I'm telling you that hey, the NBA reason was fixed is because if you call a foul on a drive, he's forced to make a free throw. statistically, free throws are 70% shooting across the whole league, even if it's a bad free throw shoot. You're forcing a guy to put points on the board. You can't force. It's very hard to force. You can't. You can be like, oh, call a holding call so that it takes that touchdown away.
Yeah.
Cool, but then you can't force. Oh, you called a holding call. That doesn't force Oklahoma State to score. They scored 41 points.
Yeah.
Holding call is all on offense. What did your defense do? Not their job.
Yeah.
So there you go. So it's like you can't. And also, just looking at the 3 picks, motherfucker, don't throw those 3 picks. If he doesn't throw one of those picks, I'll bet you they win.
No,
So even if they did call 14 holding calls on purpose,
agree. But here's
So
you
that's
want to
my
do
whole thing.
cause and effect.
now it's
You back up the
soccer.
team that many times. What does he got to do? You're not going to be running the ball. You're going to have to
Sure,
throw it. Look how many times he probably had to throw.
sure, but
Because they
throw
were
it all
behind the
time anyways,
chains.
these teams, they don't fucking run the ball.
No, we were a 50-50 run pass.
All right. So you want to argue that? Now let's go back to the fucking game, and I'll break down the game to you why they lost. He still threw 3 picks.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's his fucking fault.
No, I agree with you, but like I'm just saying, this is it's a thing. If you're a Texas fan, like the Oklahoma State game for the last 8 years has been the worst officiating ever. So much so a ref ran into our coach and then gave him a flag, backed us up, and we lost the game.
I mean, here you go. I mean, the first play of the game, he throws a pick.
Oh,
On
yeah.
The third play of the game.
Yeah.
That's not from an affected holding call.
No.
So there you go. So there's one of your interceptions. Now let me go look at the other ones. Here's interception number 2. 1st and 10, 1st and 10, 2nd and 12, holding call. 2nd and 22, 3rd and 22. Makes a big completion, 4th and 3. There was a pick. So the holding call didn't affect him.
Yeah, okay.
Because he got back to 4th and 3, though.
Yeah.
And then the interception was late in the game here. 1st and 10 on the Oklahoma's 38-yard line. He throws a pick.
Mm-hmm.
Your guy had a bad game.
Oh, he had a bad game. He had a terrible game.
I'll stop it, dude. Bring me a fucking thing where you think the NFL game was fixed, and I'll show you how it's impossible to fix the NFL game. You can manipulate a drive, but you can't force someone to score. You can force someone to score in basketball. That's what's scary. And you can force someone to kind of score in soccer because you could call a penalty in a box.
Yeah.
You could do a penalty kick. But again, you can't really force someone to... Look, they missed it in the England-France game.
But you know what's crazy is that there are games where someone will call the penalty and the player realizes like, hey, no, this was the wrong call. And they'll just be like, kick it off to the side and be like, yeah, I'm not going to take this kick. It has been
soccer?
done. Yeah, it has been done.
I've never seen that. That's crazy.
Where they're like, yeah.
Part of the game is like... Now, I don't think it should be anymore because it's 2022 and we should use technology. But I think part of the game should be human error. Like it has been in baseball. You're like, was he safe or not? It's like, hey, man, whatever the ump thinks. That's how it was in baseball. If he slides, it's hard to tell. Same with penalties. But now, if we can fix it, it should be fixed. Like we had a really bad call last night. We got a rough in the passer late call. It wasn't. And even the guy on the Dolphins tweet, he goes, if I'm going to be fined $15,000 for a rough in the passer call, these need to be looked at, which is a fair argument if you're going to be fined if that's the rule. So that was, I thought, a valid situation. Now, did that rough and passer extend their drive? Sure. But we still had opportunities to stop them.
Yeah.
It helps a little bit. The whole point is forcing to score. That being said, why did we get into that? I don't know. Do you want to read that email?
Sure.
Okay, so before we get into this guy wrote me, I saw this in my other email box. I don't get to these quickly sometimes, but even if it comes off, it's a little, I could tell, I mean, he obviously follows up, he was intoxicated. I'm not going to talk to someone I don't know personally like that. It's not, I don't know what the best situation is. I'm not a therapist. And when I say right into your problems, we're giving you advice based off of, we're two idiots. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like we just want to be here for someone. But like, if I think something is like, hey, I don't want to, this could be seriously deep and dark, like I don't know. I didn't really read it. Here it is. Okay. So let's just kind of go into it and then, okay.
All right. Dear Sir Lenoci, I'm going through some stuff and I don't know, but it's possible that I'm also a hot dog. I love Robin Williams. He is great. Anyways, I'm pretty drunk right now and I wish I wasn't. I've been dealing with addiction for so long that this shit is making me crazy. I was sober for a whole year and then I relapsed today. My middle name is Luke, so sometimes I wonder if I'm the chosen one, Luke Skywalker.
Gotcha. Okay. For context.
Anyways, I'll spare the jokes. I love you guys, man. You and Chris are awesome. You make me feel alive again. I have been through hell and I've done a lot of stupid shit in my past, and it's made me vulnerable a lot to a lot of people. I did some stuff under the influence of crystal meth that was strange and weird. I explored my body and my feminine side, even though I'm a man. And I did have some identity issues, but since I have found myself, I opened my home to the wrong people, and they tried to make me feel insecure and that I wasn't me. I know who I am. I'm not a woman. I am a man. I was embarrassed of what I had done to myself under the influence, and these people had hacked into my webcam and spied on me and acted like they knew who I was. Since then, I have been losing my mind, but lately I have been realizing that it doesn't matter. I accidentally opened my home to these people and had a maniac come into my life. He tried to destroy me as a person, and I stood up to him. This guy threatened to murder my whole family, and this shit took a toll on me. I have been tripping since, but lately I've been coming back to the reality and realizing that this guy is probably dead or in jail. He was a professional thief and messed with a lot of people, and I am certain that he got what was coming to him. Life has been hell because of him, and I was always worried about my family consistently calling them and asking them if they were okay. My dad said he got into a skiing accident last year when he was found with a black eye, but I'm almost certain he lied to me to cover up the fact that this dude attacked him. I'm trying my best to get as well by my best to type this email because I am pretty drunk, and it's not easy, but hopefully if you are down, I can talk to you sober. I appreciate all you and Chris have done for me and many others. You are all awesome. I also make music on my channel, Inertia Records. I hope to hear back from you. It has been a rough night. I'm hopeful for the future, and then he signs off his name and his number, etc. Do you want the second email?
Sure. Does it? You think we need to, or does it really add?
We'll just ask. He goes, "Hey, I just wanted to apologize for my drunken email the other night. I'm going through some tough times and things are starting to look better. I had to change my mindset and turn my own life around. Also ignoring the people who are slandering my name and throwing my hate my way. I appreciate all you do, and I'm a big fan of you and Chris's comedy. You've helped me find my way and helped me realize some things about my life and about myself. Change is difficult, but sometimes it has to be done if we want to see brighter days. Thank you for everything. Hope you're doing well yourself."
Well, my first thought already is this is a prime example of how someone is just stuck in their bubble. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's, regardless of what's going on, it sounds like he's stuck in The Sopranos, right? Like he's got some like, it's probably not that crazy. There's not some guy, you think a guy beat up his dad and like, it's also like he could easily remove himself from this, or is he got paranoia?
I would love to agree with you on that, but remember, I got that crazy stalker, and that's been going crazy right now. So I wouldn't put it past him that this is happening.
Drugs are evil, man, huh? I mean, like, well, it's just like, how do you, like, when he was saying certain things, like, there's a maniac who's a professional stealer.
Professional stealer?
Is that what he said?
A thief.
He said professional thief?
He said thief.
Okay. I'm just, like, sitting there going, like, I know people who struggle with addiction, or not crystal meth, but maybe drinking or cocaine or weed, if that's considered one. But, like, if somebody's like that troubling, I feel like instinctively we're all pretty good at, like, removing ourselves from them, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like,
yeah, but he said he opened his home to these people, so it's
Yeah,
a
what
lot
does that
harder to
mean?
get
Yeah.
rid of those people if they're in your home.
Now when he means open his home, like, he means like they stayed with him, or does it mean
I'm
like he
guessing
let
that-
them in their life?
I would guess that's what it means.
Man. And then I didn't know,
Because he would have had
was
to
he, like,
evict someone.
Did he say? I mean, I assume he's done some sexually things that were gay, and then he was like, maybe I'm not gay, Is that what he was implying?
I don't know how to read that.
He said I
Uh,
explored some things on crystal meth, my
he ex-
feminine side,
Correct.
which is your butthole.
Sure.
Wouldn't that be your butthole? If a guy has a feminine side, is it no? I don't want to make jokes, but yeah. So when I get that, I'm like, I'm not gonna, I can't, I don't know the person. I can't call them. I don't know what advice to give in this situation. It sounds hard, but to me, my first instinct. Listen, again, we're not professionals. My first instinct is like, slow down, and just remove yourself from the situation for a second and go. Is all of this stuff that you're saying about a guy or the world you're in controlling your life that much that you can't kind of just go, you can move.
It's not that easy for people.
I know.
Like
I'm
to
trying.
just get up and move. But you can say like, hey, take one thing to make your life better that's for you and just start stacking from there.
What does that mean to you, Mark?
Well, I mean, this is such a small step, but like, hey, make your bed in the morning. Start there. No.
This guy gets that's what I say. I say that.
What?
I say just a little bit of organization changes your life. You start with making your bed, you're already winning, dude. Well, you listen to this podcast, don't you?
No, I do not. Don't you dare slander me.
Dude, this motherfucker's a fan of the podcast. He's like, dude, I've said that. I go, dude, you make your bed, dude, you're winning. Because then you come home to something that you accomplished that day.
Fair.
That's what they say. I don't know. I mean, first of all, sobriety is hard in itself. So I can't sit here and say, but you did it. You did it once. You were able to be sober for a year. That's crazy. So you were able to win. You were able to make the playoffs. So let's get back onto that track. Jesus, bro. Do you think this guy attacked his dad? That's fucking crazy. Like, get the cops involved. What's going on? Also be like, Dad, did this guy attack you? You didn't fall from a fucking skiing accident. Canadians are crazy. I thought it's supposed to be peaceful up there. I thought it's supposed to be all nice people high on weed and shit. We got a fucking mafia story right now. This is a straight up mob story. Or it's a fucking Breaking Bad story. It's like an episode of Breaking Bad. You're like Breaking Bad was so good, but there would be episodes where you're like, this is like making me feel morally horrible. This is a grimy, like, is that how grimy that world is of fucking meth and shit? And you're like, yeah, this guy did crystal meth. It's just straight up an episode of Breaking Bad. And then he's reaching out to me. It's like, dude, I hope he gets help. What am I going to do? Imagine if I fucking called him. I would be like, that would be a disservice to his own mental health. Who am I? But maybe I should call him. Maybe you should call him. Have you been given any homeless people socks?
No, I haven't done that.
Oh, well,
this
who's
winter.
the bad guy this winter now? Scrooge is
I
here.
haven't gone on my walks. I haven't had a chance. I do have a pack of socks at home ready.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Fucking guy. What do you think about carrots?
I don't.
Well, we're going to end this segment with carrots. I'm going to tell you right now. I don't think carrots are... I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm not even making jokes. I know that sometimes you're like, is this for clips and stuff? But like, I'm going to tell you right now. Carrots are so boring and so non-attractive, but when you experience it and you do it correctly, you're satisfied afterwards. That's the thing about carrots. If I had to kind of sum it up for you, carrots suck until you get through it. Sorry. This is how carrots are, man. Carrots are like getting into a workout routine. The first day, you're like, I don't want to do this. It sucks. I don't like it. I don't want to do this. It seems like it's too time consuming. The process to go to I got to drive to the gym. I got to park. I got to get out. I got to check in. I got to go beep. I got to beep at the gym. And then I got to like stretch because I'm in my 30s. And then I got to like start and I got to get the right music on or podcast. And then You're doing it. You're like, why am I even here? But you're like, because I got to get in shape because it's healthy. Then you leave. You go home. You shower. And an hour later, after that shower, you sit there and you go, what is that? What is that feeling? I feel like a little tighter. I feel good. I feel great. Why do I feel great? That's carrots. That's carrots right there, baby. How are you having your carrots? Oh, raw carrots, hummus. Have like 7 of them. You're like, first of all, you take out the carrots. They're on the counter. They're washed, red, whatever. They're the little string carrots for dipping and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever your dip is. Some people do cream cheese. I was a cream cheese person. All right, I've done it before. Some people have hummus. Some people have
Like
ranch. Okay, whatever it is, you pull it out. You're like, this isn't. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. But you go one. You're like, there's something fun about the crunch. There's something fun about a crunch with a carrot. You're like, there's something there, and you're like, that's not that satisfying taste wise. But then you get like the pieces in the back, and you're like, there is something satisfying. It's weird. It's not like a Snickers or ice cream or a pizza, but there's something. And then you do like 5 or 6 or 7 of them, and you're like, okay, it suppressed my hunger. You put it away, and then you walk, and like 10 minutes later, you go, all right, carrots are not so bad. Carrots are pretty good. And we're not even talking about cooked carrots. Now, that's a whole new world. Now, if you have carrots cooked within fried rice or with other vegetables, you're having a great time. It's a great side because, again, when a plate comes, let's say you get chicken breast with sauce or whatever, you're at an Italian restaurant, and instead of pasta, you want vegetables on the side, and you got like a chicken parmesan, which you're already kind of cheating right there, but like you have vegetables. When they come, you're like, no, this isn't fucking exciting. This isn't good. Then you eat it, and you go, that wasn't too bad, and then you eat all of them, and then you finish, and you leave dinner, and you go, I'm doing it. That's carrots. That's what carrots are, man.
I cannot name a more satisfying crunch. And I think carrots are all right. I think there's carrots that, like, when cooked, amazing with like a steak.
No crunch with there. Yeah.
Like a honey glazed roasted
crunch. That is something.
But is there a more satisfying crunch than like it's wet and crispy? There's not a better crunch.
Now, we got something here. Matt. We got a clip here. Is there a more satisfying crunch than a carrot? We're not talking about taste or savory, right? Is that the right word?
Yeah.
It's the... That is the most satisfying. Now, could you argue that 3D Doritos was a satisfying crunch? Do you remember those
Funyuns,
days?
Great, but not as good as a carrot.
No, carrot's great. The crunching part is great. I don't know that there is another crunch, like even a chip.
What about an apple?
Like, no,
not even close to a carrot.
This an apple is like the feeling of the break.
Yeah, the break is good.
The break of the crunch of a carrot goes beyond the health of a carrot for your diet and what it is as a vegetable not being so fun to eat. You got to think about the crunch because the crunch mentally makes you satisfied.
Now let me ask you this. What makes the bite? The dip or the crunch? What's more satisfying?
Well, you can really turn a carrot snack into a bad snack with a dip.
Correct.
But it is the crunch.
It's the crunch that's the satisfying.
Man, if we had the technology at this studio, we'd be doing carrot crunches right now. It is an unbelievable thing. That was a good point you brought up. I will give you credit for that. The carrot crunch is arguably one of the best crunches you're going to hear in the biz. It's the best crunch. A cauliflower crunch, not the same. If anything, you're like, it's not even that great. A carrot crunch is unbelievable. A carrot crunch. Oh boy, we got one right here, Matt. A carrot crunch is the most enjoyable sound to hear that you're not a part of. How about that? How about that? You hear someone chewing, usually you're like, oh, that's annoying. I can hear them chewing. Get out of my world. You hear someone go in the other room, you go, that's a carrot. Oh, that's a carrot, dude. And it goes down your back in not a gross way. You're like just chilling, watching TV. You go, oh, they're eating a carrot. That's a satisfying moment, man. What other food? I mean, if someone's eating potato chips, you can hear it. It's not the same, man. No other food do you hear someone chew that you go, I like that. It's soothing, man. That is fucking hilarious, man. That's something we just discovered. Any other food, you're big, bro, stop chewing, man. That's gross. Someone, soup, you're like, bro, that's obnoxious. You're mad at everyone. Any other food, you're mad at someone. Someone bites a carrot and you can't even see it and you hear the carrot break, you go, carrots, man.
Bugs Bunny chewing the carrot.
Bunnies, you ever have a pet bunny? You ever have a pet bunny?
No.
I have. Gave him carrots. Carrots is where it's at. Clip those up for me, baby. Who's got any other suggestions? That would be great. Let them know. Let us know. Hit us up. Email the podcast. Like, subscribe. Holler at your players. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for coming by. Thank you guys. See ya. Bye.